Let's see. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, intentional carnivore, everybody, welcome back. I am here with Carnivore Kipp once again. Good to see everybody and welcome. We got an exciting show. We're gonna do what we always do when we get together, have fun. And thanks for being here. I enjoyed being on your show last week, and man, this is it's like living a dream. So glad to see everybody. Hope you got your questions. We got some cool stuff coming up. I've been trying to look at the comments and see everybody already. And man, I'm like a kid in a candy store or a carnivore store. There's addicted antlers popping in there. I was talking with them earlier. Man, I'm glad to see you guys, man. I get pumped up, man. I have such a good time. So, how you doing tonight, Kip?
I'm doing good, brother. I enjoyed our talk last week, and I'm sure I will this week. And it's just exciting because as soon as me and you met each other, man, and started talking, like it's just I feel like we're just becoming bros, man.
I know, man.
Loving it.
That's how I feel too, man. There's my
Yeah.
sister-in-law, Angel. She's popping in. She had an event. I would have been there, Angel, tonight. Obviously, I had this already scheduled, but my heart's with you tonight and thinking about you and everything. And um, definitely support the cause. It's definitely something. I'm not, putting business out there, but like Angel has been. She just got back from an event where she's bringing awareness to fentanyl and the deaths that comes from that. And she lost a son
Absolutely.
to fentanyl. And obviously, I don't want it to be like uh, you know, a a thing. But at the same time, there's something that's on my heart too because we got to put a stop to that stuff. You know,
Yep.
that,
It's
that
bad.
I mean, I don't want to change the flow of the live, obviously, but my heart's definitely with her. So I did want to mention that before we went any further.
Hmm.
There's so much
Yep.
tragedy going on, man. There's so many people going through stuff, man, that you know, and you don't never know. You always think it's going to be something down the street or around the block, but it's definitely stuff that happens next door and in your own house if you're not careful. So I definitely want to bring awareness to that. That's definitely something that we definitely need more awareness to, and that's what she's out doing tonight, putting in work and um, taking that tragedy and trying to use it to reach other people. So hopefully they won't have to live through the same things that she's lived through. So I definitely want to say something about that. But um, so what you been doing today, man? I mean, you've been out. You just telling me a little bit about it. You want to tell everybody what you was doing today?
Well, today I took off because yesterday I was smoking meat all day from the time I got up. Well, we had a special church service last night. So yesterday I smoked meat all day and then went to church and I shot a video on it and released it on my channel. And
Mhm.
then after that, so today we just kind of had a family day and there was like my nephew's T-ball game was because he just started playing T-ball was in our town. So we went to that and did a lot of walking around and just had fun, and then we went out to eat with family and I stayed carnivore, but
There
then
you go.
we were going to this festival that was in town, and plans kind of changed with our daughter. She missed her nap, so she was kind of all wacky today. So then we scratched that plans and come home and let her nap, and then uh, we turned around and went out to eat again with our pastor and them this evening, and I just had bacon and eggs at the restaurant, and it was great. But yeah, so it's been a busy day, eventful day, but it's been a lot of fun.
It's a tough life, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
Cassie got me earlier from Carnivore Quest. She trying out that new smoker, had some pork on there, some smoked pork, look, smoked pork, and
Hmm.
man, I was like, oh my goodness, I could smell it almost because I used to use that cherry wood and the apple wood just to get that flavor. Without I was like, I can get the flavor, but I'm not putting the toxic sugar from that stuff in my mouth. So it was so good.
Hey, John asked a good
Yeah,
question.
man, there
If
you
you want to
go.
check it out.
Let's see what we got. What's going on? How you doing, John? Hope well. Kip and Shawn, about how much meat do you eat in a typical day? So I did a video actually. I think it was 2 weeks ago about basically what I eat in a day. Um, you know, I know maybe Eggs, I eat about 4 whole eggs made in deviled eggs about every day, and a ribeye steak without the fat trimmed off of it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
usually one day. And I'm so full. Like even right now, I'm just sitting here. I drink water all day, but as far as meat, it's one ribeye steak and 4 solid eggs with a half a stick of butter. Now, if I get hungry, uh, I don't limit myself. So if I eat a steak and I eat the eggs and say, later on in the day, I'm like, man, I'm hungry. I'll go have another half a steak or I'll have some more eggs. I have gotten a situation every once in a while where I had to jump on some pork rinds. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, it's just you know, I plan on having a steak and 4 eggs every day. That's what I prepare. But if something happens, man, I have a little more.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Especially, I try to tell everybody starting out for the first 2 months when you start out eating this way, do not limit your portions. And it's not everybody gets tied up in the weight loss thing, and that's important. But I tell people that for this reason. If your plan is just to lose weight and you limit your portions and you don't make eating this way sustainable to where you stick with
Mm-hmm.
it and you're hungry, especially in that start out period, you're going to be reaching for whatever's in the cabinet or whatever your family's eating. It's not on your plan. Don't try to limit it. Whenever you're hungry, eat meat, eat what you want. You can adjust that
Mm-hmm.
later. And that's kind of the rule that I went by. What about you, Kit? What you got?
Yeah, I kind of I agree with you on, in the beginning to just kind of get your body adjusted and eat the meat, and don't worry about that stuff. A lot of that stuff will start sorting itself out, you know, because your body will start telling you, look, hey, I'm kind of full, maybe I should stop eating. But I would say a typical day for me, it just depends if I'm at work versus if I'm at home. Like my meals in the evening, I normally eat 2 meals a day. But sometimes I wake up and about an hour or two later, I might want some bacon or something. So then on those days, I'll have 3 meals. But typically, most of the time, it's 2 meals a day. And whenever I have my 2 meals, um, my last meal supper is always usually something that I've cooked or smoked because I smoke meat all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do something like a smoked ribeye, and they're usually about like a pound. Or I'll do like a roll of hamburger meat, which is like a pound of hamburger, or something like that on the smoker. But then, or in a cast iron skillet. But then for lunch, it just depends if I'm at home or at work. If I'm at home that day, because I'm at work 4 days a week and at home 3 days a week. So if I'm at home, I'll have uh, a lot of times I'll smoke enough meat to where I can do lunch and supper. So then I would have maybe another half a pound to a pound on top of what I had for supper. So that would put me at like between a pound and a half to 2 pounds of meat a day. And then sometimes I might add a little bit of butter to my steak or something. But
Mm-hmm.
I used to go crazy with the butter, and I've kind of like toned that back down to, just putting a little bit. And a lot of times I'll eat it without even putting any of that on there. So I would say probably about 2 pounds is a good day, and sometimes it may only be a pound and a half of meat and then a little bit of butter.
Yeah. Maybe what kind of woods do you use?
Sometimes it depends on what I'm cooking, but my favorite two woods to use all around is hickory and pecan. I like
Mhm.
hickory because it's got a little bit deeper smoke flavor. But it's a little too much for some people. I call it newbies, but it's
I
but
actually still have
yeah,
some hickory out there on the front porch. About a half
yeah.
a bag. I like hickory too.
Yeah, for some people it's too much for them, and I would say if it's too much, you would want to go with pecan. But
Mhm.
you can play around too with things like cherry wood, and
Mhm.
if you want more red color in your meat, you would use cherry wood because the cherry wood, and what's crazy is when they cut cherry wood, it actually looks red on the inside,
Oh yeah.
but it also and it smells wonderful if you smell it.
Oh
But
yeah.
whenever you cook with cherry wood, it will make your meat a lot redder than if you cooked with any other wood. And you could play with apple and stuff like that too. But hickory and pecan. Right now, I have a lot of pecan out there, but I'll take either one of those all day.
Absolutely. I used to actually take the apple wood and I would soak it in apple cider vinegar.
I've never
And
tried that.
yeah, so I would pour, basically I would get the chips, or even the little chunks, and I would soak it in apple cider vinegar, and then I would dump the apple cider vinegar out, and when you put it in, it kind of makes like that steam, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I mean, for me, it seemed like it helped to keep the moisture and didn't just burn it all up, because I I didn't use a lot of the wood because I was using that Weber's, well, basically what I was using.
Yeah, just a little bit in that thing.
Yeah, just a little bit, man, and it went a long way. So
Hmm.
definitely good. Allen asked about the Thor's hammer.
That thing was awesome. I barely got to tear into it yesterday because by the time I got done filming everything and cooking, I had that special church service that we had last night. So I didn't get to eat much of it last night. I just broke off a couple pieces. But then this morning, I normally wouldn't eat breakfast, but I was just thinking in my head, like, there's a Thor's hammer in my fridge. So I was like, I've got to tear into it. So I ate probably like a pound of it today for breakfast, and it was amazing,
That's what
amazing.
RW3 mom. Which flavor goes best with chicken, pork, and beef?
Chicken pork. You could honestly use the same thing for each of those if you want to keep barbecue. It's in the beginning, if you're not used to cooking barbecue, it's best to not focus on changing your woods a lot, but
Mhm.
focus on learning how to cook barbecue well with your temperatures and using the right amounts of seasonings, because you can get lost in worrying about wood. And there's so much more to wood than you think. Like, is it dry enough or is the wood too dry? So it can be complex. You just want some good wood like hickory or pecan or oak. Oak is a good wood too. There's a bunch of different oaks. There's white oak, red oak, post oak. There's a lot of different oaks that you can use, and they all are pretty similar. But you really just want to focus on how to maintain a good fire. And like you were talking about that Weber kettle earlier, a lot of people, they get into barbecue and you can make amazing barbecue with the Weber kettle, but a lot of people mess up because they'll think, okay, I got these wood chunks and I need to put a bunch of them in there, when in reality, you will over smoke the meat and it won't be good if you put too much. You just put just a couple, two or three small wood chunks, and it'll be enough for that whole cook to get the flavor in there.
Yeah, that's the hard part when what I was learning, and whenever I first started smoking or using the smoking wood, there's a type of smoke you want. And if
Absolutely.
you just people think that the more the smoke, the more it's going to get in the meat, but that's
Correct.
not. You want, when that smoke's coming out, you want it like clear blue coming
Thin
off
blue.
the thing, because if it gets like a smokestack, your meat's going to taste like an ashtray. And
Yeah.
I don't have as much probably experience as you do.
Yeah.
Man, I love it. So
Yeah, if I see somebody that, like, if I go over to somebody's house and I see them using a pit, or if I ride past somebody's house and I see smoke rolling out of their pit, I already know that they don't know how to cook because,
I'm like, somebody
because
get an extinguisher.
yeah, because what that tells me is that they're not burning a clean fire.
Hmm.
Because if you burn a clean fire, you're gonna have a lot less smoke because you want it to just it whistles out of there, and it just, you want a good convection flow of smoke going out.
Right. Sometimes more is not better, my friends.
That's right.
Let's see. All right. So let's see. I got that one. Let's see. I try to keep up with it. Kind of multitask here. Shawn, did I eat more in the beginning, or was I hungry more in the beginning? When, like, the first week I was, but honestly, I started intermittent fasting. And so I would say, like 16-8 or whatever, I think is what I was started out doing. Well, excuse me. When I first started eating, I ate 3 times a day. I ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Me too.
I literally went from eating foot long sub sandwiches and fixing banana puddings and that kind of junk to literally like I'm eating hamburgers today, I'm eating steak tomorrow, I'm eating eggs, I'm eating tuna, out of the can, whatever I got to do to get on this diet. But and honestly, the first time I tried it, you the carnivore eating for 30 days, I did the dirtiest thing. I was still using sauces and whatever, but it was just to see what it was about. And then whenever April the 17th of 2022, whenever I went, that was my day. I didn't want to touch anything else, but I was willing to. Dr. Berry says from the get-go, when you eat meat, don't limit yourself. Just get focused, get transitioned over onto eating meat, and that's what I did. How did you start back in January, Kip? Like,
I just went kind of cold. I would say I went cold turkey, except for the like, I didn't go to the point of only doing salt. Like, I come from barbecue and I've always used all kind of seasonings, and it's it was been very, very hard for me to like not have certain seasonings. But I did cut out like your brown sugar and stuff like that. And I took out all the barbecue sauces. I don't use any condiments or anything, but like I still have like the salt, pepper, and a little bit of garlic and onion powder and paprika and stuff like that. But as far as the food wise, I cut out all vegetables, all carbs, all anything. I think like a month in, I messed around and had some jalapenos in like some cheese dip. I was like, oh, it's been a while since I've had cheese. I'm gonna have that, and it kind of tore me up.
oh yeah, dude. I tell you what I used to do. I used to take the month that I tried it for 30 days, just eating the meat. And like I said, it was dirty. I would take and I would put hamburger and I would just chop it up real fine, like hot dog chili, basically, and put it in a
Hmm.
bowl. And I would put mustard on top of it because Dr. Berry says that you can still have mustard as long as it's clean. And so he even still uses mustard. And I would take
Yeah.
jalapenos and put in there every once in a while. Not too much. Obviously, jalapenos still have carbs in them. So the best thing to do to get over the addiction to sugar and carbohydrates is abstain from it. Obviously,
Yeah.
with that being said, you have to make it sustainable, whatever that looks like. And
Hmm.
I would much rather see you eating 95% carnivore with a little bit of jalapenos or a little bit of cheese for right now to get started till you can get into it, than
Hmm.
see people continue to eat the candy bars and the energy drinks and the cereal in the mornings and the all the diabetics eating the fruit like their doctors oftentimes tell them to do. So whatever makes it sustainable.
Yeah, and that's kind of like my version of cheating. Like I felt like I cheated when I did that, and
Mhm.
because I don't want to have like crazy binge meals where I'm going out and having donuts and all the things that I used to have. So like if I every month or every couple months I'm like, hey, I'm gonna make some cheese dip and put a little jalapenos in it, I just might have to deal with the diarrhea later.
I used to tell people all the time, like your doctor keeps telling you to eat apples. You'd be better off. You get less sugar if you just ate a donut.
That's crazy.
It's
If
crazy.
y'all hear anything in the background, I just realized that my dog is actually in this room.
Oh,
So
dude,
he's laying down chewing on a toy. So hopefully y'all don't hear it.
over there snoring on you.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna hit that one because Will says so. Treating this way of eating like a diet is gonna set you up to fail. You are building a new life with new ways. It's not a diet; it's a way of life, absolutely. And that's the thing is, the people that I've seen successful on this way of eating have some of them have went into it saying, "I'm gonna give this a try." And see what it does for X amount of days. And that's my goal to get people to just commit to 30 days, commit to 60 or 90 days. Um, but during that time period, something takes over. You feel so good because they get to try it. But some of us, when we came into this way of eating, we're like, look at here, this is my new life. And that's the point that you get to. Sometimes it happens at day one, and sometimes it develops inside of you. Just getting people to get it, that's the main thing for me anyway. That's my
Mhm.
goal. So I agree with you, it
Yeah.
is a way of life, it is a change, because if you come to this way of eating and it benefits you and you see your type 2 diabetes reverse, or you start healing those diseases, you get rid of the joint pain, you lose weight. As soon as you go back to eating the way you used to eat, it's all going to come back.
Yep, you're
But
right.
it's a mental transformation. What
Yeah, it's a it definitely within the first month I started realizing, hey, this is so much more than just a diet that people go on. Uh and like it's just become I've realized it just became a way of life, and it almost felt a little effortless. I hate to say that,
hmm
but it's like I've my body adjusted so well to eating meat, and I don't crave all the other stuff as bad anymore. Now there may be a time where I'm having a rough day and I think, man, I could swing in Sonic real quick, but then I'm like, wait a minute, dude, what are you even talking about? But
Right.
it has, and honestly, I hate even and I try to explain this to some of the people in my comment section, because people be trying to get on to me if I say carnivore diet in my titles and stuff, and I'm like, look, I wish that the whole carnivore community could just switch and only say carnivore lifestyle.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, whenever it comes to making these videos, I've been learning that, like, if you don't say carnivore diet, people will not search it your video.
Yeah.
And because if, like, you got to think of an outsider coming in, like if you're trying to, there's an outsider, oh, I hit the mic there, if there's an outsider and they don't know anything about it, they're not going to search carnivore lifestyle. They're going to search what is the carnivore diet, or tell me
Right.
something about the carnivore diet. So we know, me and you, we know that it's a lifestyle,
Right.
but they don't know that yet. And if we can just get them to watch the video and spread awareness, don't worry about that stuff. They're going to find out that it's a lifestyle, because their body, everything's going to change.
Oh yeah. Well, that brings up another point, and kind of like what's mentioned right here. Miss Angie says, I am on keto, and I eat 2 meals a day most days. Some weeks, about 2 days, I eat 1 meal a day, and talks about being on keto. And I often say carnivore and refer to carnivore, but it is a ketogenic spectrum, and I have
Mm-hmm.
tried my best to get that across more clearly, or be more conscientious about that, because
Mm-hmm.
while I do BBBE, I support carnivore and I support keto and low carb, as long as it's on the ketogenic spectrum, and the lion
Oh
diet.
yeah. Oh
I'm not,
yeah. I
I don't,
mean,
just because I say carnivore or BBBE doesn't mean I don't support the whole ketogenic spectrum. It's
yeah.
just some people can tolerate different levels, and I feel like the proper human diet is better explained by Dr. Barry than even me.
Oh,
It's
me too.
definitely it's on the spectrum, and we're all a big, happy, sometimes dysfunctional family, and we got to support each other. And I got lots of friends
Absolutely.
that do the keto.
Oh yeah. Keto, I mean, I had some success when I did keto before, so I have a lot of respect for keto. Honestly, if I would have never done keto in the past, I don't know if I would have ever found carnivore,
Yeah.
because me finding keto is how I found Dr. Barry. And if I would have never searched that in YouTube, I may have never came across carnivore. So
Yeah.
I have so much respect, for people that are on keto, and there are people that can do keto really well. I
Mhm.
just can't stand it whenever people, and I was guilty when I first started keto of like trying to make all these different crazy sweets and all this different stuff. And I'm just like, man, you're walking a fine line between, like, your body still being wanting and craving everything else.
Mhm.
I like to see it when people say, hey, I do keto, but I stick with like meats and vegetables. At least keep it whole food, something that you would have found in the wild years ago, or just something, not all this
Not
box
the
keto
keto
stuff.
treats and those kind of things. I
Yeah.
get the point, and I see the relevance for those like keto chow treats and stuff. But the main thing for me that I try to emphasize is also that when you walk that line to try to see how close you can stay to the way you used to eat versus eating like this, you're teetering, and it's a thin line, because you don't want you got to completely beat that addiction. So I mean, it's definitely a fine line, but
Oh
like I said,
yeah.
still got to make it sustainable.
Nope.
Let me see if I can keep up. I'm trying to keep up with the comments. I'm getting so far behind.
Oh, you're good. I couldn't keep up with them either.
Hey, Joy, it's good to see you here tonight. Joy forever. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see
Let's
here.
see.
Let me see if I can get caught back up. Let's see. Lifestyle change. Absolutely, Angel.
Hey, and y'all don't forget to like this video because
Oh,
it's going to
yes.
help push it to more people.
Yeah, I'm so bad when it comes to that, dude. Like promoting the actual process of the YouTube videos.
Mm,
Like and subscribe. If you're watching right now, hit the subscribe button for me and like it,
yes.
push it out. So, I get so focused in on the transformation and the message that I'm trying to get across that I forget to go through that fundamental stuff. But I guess it's all part of it. I'm trying to learn that. So,
Yep. Yep.
do you take any supplements?
Me, the only thing that I take is I take vitamin D. Well, I take the only medicine that I take is a blood pressure pill that I'm wanting to come off of. I was talking to you about that the other day,
Oh yeah,
but
nice.
the yeah, we're gonna get that took care of. But on top of that, the only thing that I take is I take vitamin D3 and K2. It's the little liquid kind or whatever. I'd heard about it from Ferrigno Freedom's one of his videos,
Mm,
and I was like, I'm gonna just give it a try. And I started taking that because I was getting it prescribed from my doctor, and it was vitamin D2. And I
mm.
asked them, I said, "Do y'all do vitamin D3?" And they said, "No, we can't get it." So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just start paying for this instead.
Oh yeah. I'm supposed to be taking D3. My doctor prescribed it. I never got it filled. I need to because my D3, my vitamin D is low. I used to last summer I was walking, 2 or 3 miles a day. Once I started walking, that video on my channel, the one where I'm in the red shirt, that was actually the first day that I started walking after like in
Hmm.
3 years. Like that was day one for me. I hadn't walked like that in three. Couldn't walk. I couldn't take a shower without being out of breath. That's how overweight and unhealthy that I was. I'd be standing in the shower and feel like I was gonna pass out. And I started April 17th, 2022. And that video was taken during a challenge that we did in Carnivore Quest community, and it was the month of July, and
Hmm.
that was the actual day that I filmed that was July the 3rd because I had just gotten back from visiting my mom in Atlanta, and
Hmm.
we had done some bowling and we were starting that challenge, and instead of starting on the 1st, I started on the 3rd, and that video right there is it. So I was getting the sunlight from being outside from walking. But I need to take that. I do take electrolytes. I will use the Keto Chow mineral drops, or
Hmm.
another good brand is like Larry and them have the code for the LMNT, the element. I've heard that
Hmm.
they were really good, and I'm sure there's other brand. Redmond's Real Salt, I think, is got some minerals in it. Um, but other than that, I really don't take any vitamins, and I'm not deficient in any either.
Yeah, they're talking about natural. You see who's in the chat? The big dogs is here.
Uh oh,
Cassie's in the house.
I better
Uh,
be on my best behavior.
yeah, but yeah, I was gonna say something, but I ain't going to. But anyway, what there was a comment that I seen somebody just said something a while ago, but where'd it go? It went up to the top. Somebody, I think it was Frank, said that he actually logged in on two accounts so that he could give you two viewing tonight. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Thanks, Frank. I appreciate it.
That is cool. That's cool.
Oh, Connie asked, do either one of you incorporate? And she meant seafood. I seen it in the bottom there. Do you eat seafood?
I live close to Mobile Bay. I have to.
Right,
It's a
me too.
require. It's a requirement down here. My ancestors. Maybe I'm kind of like what I've heard Dr. Berry talk about before, where a lot of people's ancestors were from or whatever. I'm
Yeah.
sure wherever my ancestors were from were probably really close to the ocean
Oh
because
yeah.
it's been generations and generations down here. But and I'm actually part of a Native American tribe down here in South Alabama. But so I'm probably used to eat, my ancestors used to probably eat a lot of red meat because they used to deer hunt with bows and back years ago have buffalo and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, seafood is a big part. I wouldn't say it's as big of a part since I've started carnivore, but I'd say maybe once a week I'll eat some seafood or go out to a seafood restaurant and eat some seafood.
I absolutely love shrimp. I'm not a big fish guy.
Hmm.
I will eat the salmon. You know, even before I started eating this way, I would eat salmon, but I wasn't a big fish guy. But when it comes to shrimp, I am a shrimp person. I had quit eating it for a long time because I suffered from gout. And every time I would eat shrimp, I would have a
Hmm.
flare up really bad. But I tell you how much I love shrimp is because is even though I knew I would get a gout attack, I would still eat a ton of shrimp because I love shrimp that much. I would just endure the pain from eating it. So
Hmm.
I'm a shrimp guy. I haven't had it a lot because I've been on BBBE. It will be a year, June 1st is what I've been. But
Wow.
anybody who's been following me in the group or anything knows that my weakness and if I were gonna eat off plan, I eat Texas fajitas from the Mexican restaurant, and I love it. I just
Hmm.
that's my weakness, I guess, and it's mostly the three meats: chicken, beef, and shrimp. So that shrimp every once in a while. So
You got to live a little.
yeah, every once. Well, and I heard Dr. Barry early on say something that made sense to me. He said, if you're going to cheat on the line diet, do it with BBBE. And if you're
Hmm.
going to cheat on BBBE, do it with carnivore. And if you're going to cheat on carnivore, do it with ketovore. And if you're going to cheat on ketovore, do it with keto. So if you're going
Hmm.
to cheat, if you know that that's what you're setting yourself up to, then don't cheat with stuff that's that toxic. Cheat with something that's going to not be on your plan, but it's not going to just derail you completely and bring all those cravings and whatnot back. And that's
Hmm.
how I kind of just looked at it.
Hmm.
Oh, what is your weakness, man, as far as food?
My weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I right now I feel strong right now since I've been eating this way, but I would say just watching myself to make sure I don't miss the little things, like because part of me wants to have like I used to love to make sausage stuffed mushrooms and
Mm-hmm.
things like that, or bacon wrapped jalapenos with cream cheese and stuff like that. But I'm trying to make sure that I like don't have that stuff. And like you were saying, if I ever do and I go a little off plan, like maybe once every 3 months or something, have some sausage stuffed mushrooms and know that yes, there's going to be some carbs in that, and yes, there's probably something that has cancer or can cause cancer in that mushroom. Because I've heard like Dr. Chafee and them talk about that, and it is true. But if I could do something like that once every 3 months to feel like I treated myself, and that be my cheat versus going to Krispy Kreme, I can
Mm-hmm.
live with that.
Absolutely. Joyce says, how do you travel with carnivore or holidays? Um, for me, I don't travel. Um, if you, I've heard other people who do travel. They usually make a plan before. And I got a friend in our carnivore group who actually just went on a cruise and kind of asked me the same advice or the question, what would you do if you were going on a cruise? And I said, here, doesn't matter what you're getting ready to face tomorrow. I would tell you the same thing that I would tell anybody else who's starting this way of eating. Make yourself a plan, set your boundaries, and once you involve yourself in whatever you're going to do, don't violate it. You
Hmm.
determine what no like on the cruise, she was able to actually pre-plan her meals. So I said,
Hmm.
well, I'm not telling you do carnivore or ketovore or BBE. That's your decision. You have to figure out what works for you. What I
Hmm.
want you to do is focus on setting your boundaries, making a plan, and not breaking your plan.
Yep.
Now, I mean, and it sounds easy, and it's easy for me to say because I'm not the one traveling or on the cruise. But at the same time, if you have a plan in place, even before that, let's go back to the beginning. So like one of the worst things that we do is break our own boundaries. And one of the biggest things that I've learned over the last year is that when I violate my boundaries and allow other people to violate my boundaries, I'm only hurting myself. Anybody that respects me or loves me, they won't violate my boundaries that I have set. But
Yeah.
when I allow people in my life that do violate those boundaries, then I'm setting myself up for failure to be violated even further, because whoever violates those boundaries is going to keep pushing the issue. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So set your boundaries, set your plans, set your goals, and don't even allow yourself to break it. Because
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing is once you set those boundaries and you violate it, you're letting everybody else know that they can violate it too. We got to get
Mm-hmm.
tough on that. That's like
Mm-hmm.
step one for me. And I'm not even trying to preach. It's just that that's something that I've seen happen so many times, with people coming to trying to break the addictions and break the habits that they have, because it's not easy by any means. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's one thing that I was dealing with my friend, and I was saying, just make you a plan, set your boundaries, and don't allow yourself to break it. And when you go forward, if you slip, you slip. Don't make a plan to do
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I would set it up. So it doesn't matter if you're on holiday with family or you're on your vacation or you're traveling. Obviously, there's going to be extenuating circumstances that you run into, but you're more apt to be successful if you have a plan beforehand. What about what
Mm-hmm.
you think, Kip?
Yeah, I mean, that's right. And honestly, for me, when I'm traveling, I may be a little bit less clean than whenever I'm at the house. Because if I'm at the house, I can cook a steak and I know exactly what goes in it. But when I travel, normally if I'm traveling, that involves the interstate, and they have like your Loves and Pilots gas stations and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
And I'll stop and I'll get bunless hot dogs. And I'll eat a hot dog, and it's probably got something in it that's not clean. But I'll do a hot dog or either get some boiled eggs. And sometimes I can find, I won't buy like Jack Link's beef jerky or anything, but
hmm
I'll try to find like that, what's it called? Tillamook, or some of the other brands that have like pretty much no carbs or really, really small trace amounts
hmm
versus the big brands that have all kind of different stuff in it. And I'll try to get that to be as clean as possible, uh, to where, or I mean, in a pinch, I can stop by somewhere and just get some bunless burgers if I have to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's Cassie. I finally caught up. Hey, Cass. Hope everybody's good at Carnivore Quest. Another round of applause for everybody losing over 7,500 pounds. That's huge,
That's
man.
what's up.
That's something. That's
That's
something as a
awesome.
community.
Awesome.
I know we all have our different channels and we're all doing our own different goals and our own different things and whatever, man. But I can't stress enough how encouraging it is to be able to work with everybody. And I've gotten to
Hmm.
work with so many other people. But I think we got to support each other, man, because seeing that life change and 7,500 pounds plus, it's more than that, obviously. I just don't remember the exact number off the top of my head. I just know it was more than 7,500. That's a
Hmm.
lot of weight. And the first time it was over like 3,200, 3,400, somewhere in there. The second time it was 4,500. Look at the thousands and thousands of people that are being reached and lives are being changed just by spreading the word. And that's the mission. That's the goal for
Hmm.
all of us. Not just us getting it, but spreading it to other people. And that's why I love working with you. I love doing stuff with Cassie and
Hmm.
Larry and all the people. What do you think, man?
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to see us all succeed because
Yes.
honestly, like, okay, so big pharma and big food, they would love nothing more than to see the carnivore community, even the keto community. They would love to see it all get squashed. But the
Mhm.
only and they would love to see us fail. But one way that we're not gonna fail is if we band together, because
That-
you there's strength in numbers.
That's right.
So yeah, so if we will just stick together and know that even though we all have our own channels, if we're all on the same team and the same goal, it's
Yes.
it's about helping and reaching more people. So if we'll do those things and focus on inspiring somebody, if I make a video or you make a video and it makes one more person jump on this carnivore journey, it's worth it, man. It's worth it.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. And I'm so excited, man. All right, what we got? Do you both plan on staying at it even after you lose the weight? And what do you have a goal weight in mind? What about you, man? You got a goal weight?
It's kind of changed throughout. Whenever you're as heavy as I was almost 500 pounds. So at that point, I was so desperate. I was just like, man, I would love to get down to 300 pounds because to me, 300 pounds just seems like I'd be walking on clouds. But then eventually that number became 275. And now I've kind of dialed it down a little farther. I'm thinking that where a good weight for me would probably be somewhere around 250. It could end up being 230. It could end up being 255. I don't know, 260. But I'm thinking somewhere in that 230 to 250 would probably be a sweet spot. But whenever you weigh as much as I weighed, anything under 300, I'm gonna be. I mean, I'm gonna be ecstatic.
You know what? Do you know what your BMI recommended weight is for your height?
I haven't looked it up recently, but it's probably like it's probably like 195 or something, and I don't think I'll be that weight,
Right.
honestly.
Well, I've said this a time or two before. I'm 5'9", and when I started, I was 457 pounds. When I could, the first time I weighed, I was probably more. Like I said, I did at least 30 days of carnivore before I even weighed myself that time. So my BMI score is under 170. I haven't weighed it close to 170 since like middle school. So that being said, I weigh 214 now, and I haven't weighed that since ninth grade. So I never had the idea that I could get to this weight. My goal starting out was 190, and I thought that was so unattainable that I was like, these guys are nuts saying that this is going to work. If it's going to work, my goal is going to be 190. And that was me kind of being like a smart aleck, but at the same time being like, okay, well, then I want to be 190 pounds then.
Yeah.
Never in a million years did I think it was going to happen. I am like, what? I'm 214, so I'm 24 pounds away.
Yeah, you're getting there.
So next month, I'm probably going to hit my goal weight.
But if you never made it to 190, if you made it to down to like 200 and stuff, or 200 or 210, it would still be worth doing what you've done to not be where you were at.
Absolutely, 100%. Like, look, I had no direction. I had no hope. I was so depressed that I couldn't get off of my couch. Like, I try to explain that and put that into viable words. Now, some of the people in our group probably could testify that's been in there for a long time. I could bring my wife and my children in here, and they could testify to the condition that I was in for a long time. If I the weight loss is absolutely phenomenal. I am amazed. And my doctor, as I reported on in our group, said that he had never seen anything like this before in his life. However, I will say that I want to see everybody get the weight loss that they dream about, and it is possible, and I'm living proof of that. The non-scale victories are equally, if not more important as the weight loss. And I know there's somebody that's going to watch this video, and I want to be very clear to them. You're going to be like, that's easy for you to say you've lost 243 pounds. It didn't start that way. It was primarily, for me, it was about weight loss and just anything, grasping for straws and looking for hope in any direction that I could find it. And I want you who's watching this video tonight to know that there is hope for you, because I didn't care about life whenever I started this. And you can see the difference between then and now. If you look at my eyes in that video that I have, and you look at my eyes now, I just want you to know there's hope for you. You can do this. Even though you may have failed before in the past, even though you've slipped up before, you've tried everything, you there is hope for you, my friend. I promise you
Absolutely.
there's hope for you.
Yeah, and I had,
Sorry.
no, you're good. I'm just piggybacking on you. And I was gonna say, I weighed today, and I was actually down 2 more pounds, so that put me down 80 pounds so far, and that part is great. But what's even greater than losing the weight is the fact that my shoulder doesn't hurt anymore. Because yes, it's amazing to lose 80 pounds, but the non-scale victories like you're talking about, my shoulder, it made me be in agony almost every day and just ache and throb. And I would move it certain ways and I couldn't sleep good at night and other things would bother me. And when I tried to work, it would affect me at work. And for that to stop hurting because of starting on carnivore, that right there has been better than the weight loss itself, you know. And there's just so many little bit extra benefits that start happening to
Mhm.
you that is just like, it's not just the weight loss, man. It's not just the weight loss.
Absolutely. I heard Dr. Barry actually talking about everybody is worried about the cholesterol and the cholesterol. Even my lab showed that my cholesterol did go up. Um, However, that's the only marker that I have that has went up. But Dr. Barry has cited many times about the relationship between low cholesterol and your mental health. So a lot of the reason a lot of people they do have low cholesterol, but they also have like mental disorders and like depression, being more susceptible to depression,
Mhm.
anxiety, stuff like that. When you start getting the fat and protein that is required for your every cell in your body to produce the hormones and nutrients needed to run your body effectively and start feeding it the proper human diet, it's going to make a huge difference in your mental health. So
Yeah,
I just want to throw that out there.
that's crazy.
What about side effects? Have you noticed anything weird? Thomas says, any odd side effects while on carnivore? I developed a nosebleed for about a week, but it went away.
Weird side effects. I can't.
You had anything happen?
No, I've just had the normal stuff happen, for the first week. You know how that first week can
Oh
be.
yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
after that, I mean, it's been great. There's been a couple times where if I've had too much fat, I've had that same issue again. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But but other than that, I mean, nah, it's I have absolutely loved doing this.
Oh yes.
Like, and that's why, like, I try not to just shove it on people because in the beginning, sometimes I was like, man, like, because once I learned about it, I was so excited to tell it to people. And, sometimes people are only going to want to receive stuff when they're ready.
Oh yeah.
So I've had to tone it back a little bit and just kind of, be the example for them. But when I think about issues, I haven't really had a ton of issues. It's our bodies were made for this.
Oh yes.
Our bodies were made for this. So why would we be having the issues? Like, if I think about a lion in the wild, if he's sitting there eating his proper diet, he shouldn't be having tons of issues by eating what he was made to eat.
Mm. No other carnivore other than humans plans their meals like we do.
It's
Like,
crazy.
you think a lion sitting around, do I want an antelope today? Or you know what I'm saying? It doesn't, they know what they were designed to eat, and that's what they do.
Yep.
The biggest issue I think for most of us is that we have been programmed for 150, 150 years to buy into what these corporations have basically worked together and convinced the public through
From them.
money, through scientific study. There's a scientific study that proves right now that cornflakes are the most healthy meal. I haven't
That's
seen it. I'm
crazy.
sure it's out there, but you know what I'm saying. They spend billions of dollars convincing the scientists involved in the medical community and everything else that this stuff is not what's harming you, but yet the diseases keeps going up and their
Hmm.
profits also keep going up. So
Yep.
you can see the correlation with that.
Oh yeah.
So let's see where let me I'm not paying attention again to the things. There's so many. I know I'm not hitting every single one of them, but um just say hey to everybody. Thank you guys for being here. If you'll hit that like and share. If you're
Yes.
watching, please subscribe. I
Does
got
it show you how many people are in the chat?
we got 48 right now.
Look at there. Look at
Yeah,
there.
man,
Y'all
I'm
keep hit. If
excited.
you haven't hit like, hit it. That way we can get it. Let's try to get to 50 and beyond it.
Yeah. So
That'd be cool.
RW3 mom, how often do either of you eat bacon? I actually, as much as I talk about not wanting bacon lately, I ate bacon the last 2 mornings in a row. 3 pieces yesterday and 3 pieces today. I probably won't have it tomorrow. Go ahead. What about you, man? What about bacon?
I eat bacon probably like whenever I said for breakfast, I eat breakfast maybe once a week, sometimes twice a week, but normally I just eat 2 meals. When I do eat breakfast, it's usually just bacon. And so then I'll eat bacon, but same goes for me tonight. I went out to eat and then whenever I went out to eat with them, I ate eggs and bacon. That was my supper.
Nice. One thing I count on is that eggs, man. Like I said, those eggs that I make, I've had to give that recipe away a couple of different times. I made a video, and the videos. I'm sorry, my video wasn't that great. Like I'm learning that side of it. I'm better at like discussing, like me and you talking here, but I'm learning the video side of it. I've been pestering Larry about a bunch of his techniques because but I probably need to do a better video on that recipe right there. And Cassie done put me up to a challenge yesterday, man, in the live.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna get together and do a recipe or a cooking video or cooking
That'll
challenge
be cool.
or something like
That'll
that.
be cool.
She got me in the feels right there because I'm definitely like I might can grill, but the rest like maybe I make her chuck roast and she makes my steak, or I don't know. She can probably grill better than me. Who knows?
She can cook now. She can
Oh
cook.
yeah, absolutely. Oh, and she worked at the butcher's. I guarantee she can grill too. I know Larry can. He's the one who turned me on to that grilling that way. The
Mhm.
reverse sear. Let's see what you see, man. What you got?
Oh,
Oh,
somebody lost 10 pounds. That's awesome. Yeah, Angel Shields lost 10 pounds.
yeah,
Hey,
that's my
that's just the
sister-in-law.
start. Just the
Good
start.
job. Yeah, absolutely. And like I'm gonna have to cross my fingers and say a prayer for you because I know they're getting ready to go on a cruise. So make your plan. Make your plan.
I stayed carnivore on my cruise. I went on my cruise at the beginning of April, and
Mm.
I mean, I had a little too much cheese while I was on the boat, and I did have like some processed deli. But if I look back to previous vacations, I'm fine with how that cruise went because I'm just thankful that I didn't eat the cake and the ice cream and the all the other things that was in front of me, and I stuck with meat, and I did have some cheese.
Oh yeah. Greg Emerson says my fasting goal is to keep, or yeah, my eyes just went crazy. My fasting goal is to keep my weight loss going as I near my weight goal. Absolutely, Greg. And that's one of the big things that I've kind of thought about and worried about. I didn't think it was possible to get to my weight goal or get to my ideal weight, but I wonder how much things are going to change maintaining versus having that goal. And I don't even weigh anymore. Like I weighed for the challenge, but I used to weigh every day. So I mean, I don't know how things are going to change, but I'm gonna have to have a whole bunch of y'all keeping me accountable too. We'll work together.
Mhm.
With the community. That's the good
Yeah,
part.
that was cool how you did that video the other day where you had all the different pictures in there of you weighing on the scale. That's
Mhm.
something that I didn't think about doing. Honestly, when I first started, I didn't even take pictures before, and I didn't take a picture of what the scale said because honestly, I had failed at so much stuff that I didn't think that I was going to be where I'm at today. Like when
Oh
I first started, I'm thinking like this is gonna be a couple weeks and it's gonna be like everything else. I'm gonna cave in and things is gonna go horrible. But then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks in, I was like, you know what? I'm not even thinking about sweets anymore. And I'm
yeah.
like, something's starting to change. And within a month's time, I was just like, I looked at my wife and I was like, because she was like thinking that I was gonna do it a month. And she was like, so are you gonna switch to like keto or something? And I told her, I was like, I think I'm gonna just keep doing this. And if you ask me today, hey, I am 100% doing this.
That's right. And now
For
me and you
sure.
done teamed up, and I don't know where you live in Alabama, but I don't want to have to find out. So you stuck with me now.
Oh
we're gonna
yeah.
work together
I'll
and
tell
see
you,
it
I live in
happen.
Atmore, Alabama. I'm not scared to tell anybody.
That's right. That's what I tell them too. Let's see, where are we at here?
Yeah, I'm not scared for you to know where I live.
I know, right? Well, me and you gonna have to get together one day and do some grilling or something. I'm glad you made it to the live too. It's good to see
Oh, for
you. Good to
sure.
have everybody in here. Let's see here. Oh,
Well,
what what electrolyte source do you guys use, and how often do you take them per day? Like I said, I use the Keto Chow, daily minerals or electrolytes, and I just put them in a 64-ounce tumbler of water, and I just drink on it throughout the day, just like a little cap full, and that's the only thing I use.
it's cool that she's from Alabama. So shout out to her. But also, oh, and that's who's that? B Moose 75.
Mhm.
But yeah, but anyway, me, a lot of people freak out about it because I haven't been taking any electrolytes. I mean, I guess because I have some Redmond's real salt and I use that and salt my steak some.
Mhm.
And if I make a burger and it's not quite as salty as I want it to be, I add some Redmonds to it.
Mhm.
But I haven't been taking anything. But I will say, when I watch people's videos like Larry's, whenever that and Cassie's, when I watch that, they really make me want to get some Element. I've been thinking about it.
Yeah. I've been wanting to try that too, but I hadn't tried the element yet. Linda, I'm
Yeah.
glad you got to join us a little bit. You got to get up at 4. You get you some rest. I appreciate you being here. Um, I agree with Greg on that though. He says the height and weight chart is BS. I agree. I don't think I'm almost convinced that at 170 pounds at 5'9", I'm gonna be like sunk in. I don't know. I don't know how they come up with that number, but probably the same way they came up with how Kellogg's are good for you.
What all do they use? What all do they use to come up with a number? Like, is it your height and your weight, or your height and your age, or something?
It's like your gender, your height, and your I think it's like your waist size or something. I don't know how they come up with those
Well,
numbers.
somebody needs to look that up for me real quick because we're on the chat. Somebody needs to look up. I'm 6'4". I'm I'm 6'4" and I'm 29 years old, and of course I'm a male. Somebody needs to look that up, and then if I see it in the chat, we'll know.
Maybe it's like an average or something.
Yeah, maybe it's just a couple things.
I started at 290 11 months ago. My goal was to be under 200, and now I'm at 216. My goal is 180. Absolutely, it absolutely changes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to deal with the emotional EST. Yeah, yes,
For real.
it's definitely a big thing, man, and that's part of my goal. Like I love the motivation, um, but like I try to deal like I one of my big thing is, because whenever I started out eating this way, I was emotionally and just mentally just in such a bad place that I really have a heart for people who are struggling emotionally and psychologically, and I just want to be able to speak into their life a little bit. And for me, I'll be honest with you, it started with my faith. I mean, honest to God, like I had the first thing I did before carnivore was I asked God to get me out of it. I had gotten myself in a mess that I couldn't get out of, and so that was my first step. And that's what I encourage other people to do as well. And he did. He 100% did, and he gets the glory for that. I'm not ashamed, and I'm not ashamed or shy of giving him the credit. Um, and just make your plan 100%, and
Mhm.
it's definitely attainable.
Hey, you see, Robin looked it up for me.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm
Yeah.
so far behind. I'm probably like 10 minutes ago.
Robin looked it up. It says, Kip, the chart says you should be about 200 pounds. And for me, I'm still so far away from that like it's hard to fathom that I could weigh anywhere near that. So I don't know what I'll end up weighing, but I try not to worry about it too much because I know if I keep feeding myself the proper nutrition, my body's going to heal itself and get down to where it needs to be.
Absolutely, 100%. Um, one of the one of the thoughts that I come up with, I've been reading some books, man. Actually, I'm reading a couple different books, which I'm doing so much right now. It's hard to stay on one thing, but just to keep the um my growing. I have a schedule. I think I showed it to you, didn't I? Didn't I show you my schedule? How
Yeah,
I
you did. You did.
so like one of the big things that I'm trying to be better about is like planning my time, because I know that doing the YouTube thing is great, and that's my ministry to be able to help other people, and having community and building something that can bring other people along. But at the
Mhm.
same time, I have to plan time to take time out for myself, because
Mhm.
me personally staying on track and getting that quiet time, and where I study, I read the Bible, I read books, I keep my knowledge going. That's crucially important. And one of the things that it kind of showed me today, I was reading this book and it was talking, about strongholds. And,
Mhm.
and it just, it reminded me that, like, I think a lot of the reason why we can't focus on our diet is because there's so many other issues that sidetrack us in our life, that we can't get everything on the same page.
Mhm.
Whether it be, we've got this going on, we've got that going on. And so our energy is spread out into so many
Yeah.
different areas that we can't make that one change in the diet, because we've got to put a little bit of energy over there. I mean, for example, like, you got a lot going on, even more so than me. You got a little kid, you got a job, you got
Mhm.
a wife, you got, all these different responsibilities on top of the YouTube and everything else. So, like, you know, our energy is so spread out, in beating addictions and changing your diet. Man, it's going to take a lot of focus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if there's
And
other areas drawing away from that, it makes it harder, don't you think?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And with anything, even before I started the carnivore diet, I had to, even at my church, my pastor always talks about balance. You have to find the balance, and make sure that you're not just too focused on one thing. You kind of gotta, whenever I have my family and my work and my relationship with God, even, and, and now that I've got this YouTube thing, getting out content for y'all, that's important to me, but I have to balance everything and with my wife, my daughter and everything. But so far it's been working out. But I mean, if I just did YouTube videos all day long every day or
Mhm.
whatever, my wife loves me and she supports me, but she would let me know, hey, look, this ain't gonna work out like this. So I
Uh,
have to find the balance with everything, and remember that there's a lot of great things that are also a priority.
oh, absolutely. I heard somebody say one time, and I don't remember who said the quote, and I don't even remember where I heard it, but they said that the light that shines the brightest shines the strongest at home. And that,
Wow.
that all the light that shines the brightest shines the strongest at home. And that's, I've been married 21 years, July the 20th. And my wife is the most amazing woman in the world, and I love her with all my heart. And if she wasn't the woman that she is today, I would definitely not be the man that I am today, because she's definitely been in my corner supporting me even when I didn't deserve it.
Yep.
And so I owe my first responsibility is to her and to my children.
Yep.
And even when I was at my darkest point in my life with depression and struggling to make good choices as far as, my health wise, 100%, the one thing that kept going through my mind, that kept me with just enough hope to finally find something that worked, was my wife and my children and how great they are.
Oh yeah.
And it just pushed me to be better. And when all hope was gone, I still had that in my life. And that was the one thing that I was clinging to until I finally found this. And now I get to make it a priority to spread this message and share that and help it. So I mean, I think that speaks volumes for the people that you allow in your life and your family and your responsibility to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't be the man I am if it wasn't for my wife. Somebody said, I asked a good question. Do you see the question from Thomas
Oh,
in
let me
here?
see. Let me see.
I'm not sure if you see it.
This one here, alcohol.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Thomas. Did you still do alcohol? I still have beer with my friends on the weekends, but it's just does not taste the same anymore. I think I will stop with beer. No, I actually don't drink anymore, and I no, it's been a long time since I drank alcohol like recreationally or something like that. Um, I know that even before years ago, I made a decision that I just didn't want to drink alcohol. So I did. That's not something that I've never seen alcohol benefit anybody's life to the positive. And so I kind of made that decision early on. Now, as far as the effects of alcohol on people's life, as far as physically, um, the it it's basically that works at like a toxin on your brain.
Hmm.
So you may be able to find the low carb alcohols and the what is it my brain I just had brain fart. The low You can find the low carb alcohols, uh, but it still affects the toxicity in on your body, and like you said, it doesn't taste the same. It's it's not going to add the benefit to your life. Um, I feel like
Hmm.
I feel like it becomes more of an addiction, and I've seen it a lot of times in the group, that people just will not give up the alcohol, and that's a decision that you have to make. But
Hmm.
no, I don't drink. I just don't
Hmm.
see that it brings any kind of benefit to my life. I don't feel like it's a wrong thing to drink.
Hmm.
Anything in excess to me is a sin. That's
Hmm.
what I've been taught, and that's what I learned. Um, and I don't think you can literally go to the Bible and show me a verse in there that proves that it's a religious, a sin. I believe that too much alcohol is wrong. I believe that too much sugar is wrong. I feel like any sugar is wrong just because it's toxic, poison in our
Yeah.
body. But I mean, as
Yeah.
far as it being a sin or wrong or whatever, I don't think you can prove that. But anything's wrong when it's done in
Yeah.
excess.
Yeah. And I'm the type of person that, like, I can't just be, I have to be an abstainer, because you know how we've learned about like moderators and abstainers.
Mhm.
It's the same way with me with food choices as it is with drinking. Like, because I used to drink whenever I say that like I'm old. I'm only 29, but back whenever I was like around 20, 21, hanging out with my buddies, we used to try to have a good time and get drunk, and then it turned into all the time, and it, like, I guess I have an addictive personality or something, and
Mhm.
I completely had to cut out drinking, or it was going to cause a problem. Once I got with my wife, but she pretty much she we had a come to Jesus talk, and she was like, "Look, I don't want this life for us. Like, if you're gonna just be drunk all the time, that's not gonna work." And so eventually I let it go, and I know I can't just drink a little bit socially like some people do. So it's better for me to just say, no, I'm not going to drink. So I stopped drinking long before I started carnivore. So thankfully, I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, Carnivore Quest brought up a good point. Turns to sugar. So yeah, Dr. Barry once said in a video, "Don't drink your carbs or don't drink your food." So I know that some people still do have their wine, but yeah, I mean, it's number one. Like I said, it's not going to add to anything, and definitely you don't want to have that. I've seen a lot of people who drink and won't eat because they know that they're trying to offset the carbs and offset the bad, the effects on their body. And what I, even as a paramedic, we would go out to people who didn't eat and would drink alcohol, and they would be showing signs of low blood sugar, and they're not a diabetic, and we're like, how in the world, what in the world is causing these people to have these low blood sugar readings? And it's
Hmm.
because the body just can't offset the effects of the alcohol on them. And I mean, honestly, if we just take a look at our life and start just today making a list, and then you make two columns. These things I put in this list over here are going to add benefit to my life, and these things over here are something that I partake of that's not adding any benefit to my life. I personally got to put alcohol in that one that's not ever benefited
Mhm.
me. So, I mean, I'm not going to say any more about it. I think I've harped on it enough. But my suggestion would be to give it up, bro. If it just doesn't taste the same to you, maybe that's your body's way of telling you time to go. Give it up for 60 days and just to see if you can. That's what I would do.
Yep, give it a try.
Yeah, murder. Yeah, except murder. One is too many. Absolutely, I agree with that. I know he's poking at, or they poking at me, but yeah, absolutely, I agree. One is too many with that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I love Kathy. She's in the chat. She's been on my channel for a while. She's having her as a subscriber on your channel is going to be awesome because
where's that?
she's
I'm sorry,
special.
you cut out on me.
Oh, I said having Kathy in your chat,
Yeah,
Kathy Inman, is
that's
going to
why
be
I
awesome.
was right at.
Yeah, she's been a subscriber of my channel, and she's just an awesome person.
Awesome. I'm glad. I'm glad you're here. Man, I've met so many great people, man. It's amazing. It's starting to like I get like a little kid. I get so giddy because I'm meeting all these cool people and the support that they're bringing, and
Yeah.
it's an encouragement, brother.
Oh yeah,
What
for
else?
sure.
I'm trying to keep up with the. Let's see here. It's unreal how powerful it is. Fish equals emotional healing. Lamb equals spiritual healing. Taurus equals physical healing. Mental healings and are blocked. They are Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius proteins. Okay.
That sounds like some Bart K stuff. That kind of
I,
shot over my head.
I know. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about the horoscope stuff. That's cool. That's cool. I
Yeah,
read the Bible every day and I pray about it. That's where I get all my power from.
yeah, yeah.
I
We
heard,
just some old country boys.
yeah, I heard a preacher one time, Johnny Hunt. He said, if you ever see a turtle on a fence post, you can rest assured that somebody put him there. And so
That's right.
if I ever become anything, you can rest assured that I got here because of somebody else and it wasn't my own doing.
That's right.
Oh, let's see here. What you see? What you got? Kip, you got anything you want to bring up?
No,
Mention?
I'm just reading what people are saying in here, man.
I know there's kind of some talk between everybody.
I like to see it when they're talking back and forth.
I do
I
too.
like to
I
see
enjoy it.
that, man.
I
It's a
guess
community.
what we need to do is start like a thing too. If you got a question or something that you want us to see, just put a cue out beside it, and that way we'll kind of know.
Yeah, instead of having to type our name out beforehand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that would help it.
BB BB Moose. So many things have changed for me since doing the April challenge. Changed my life. That's good. That inspires me right there. Seeing people change. You know, Kip. One thing. That's one thing that brings up a point that I've been meaning. Me and you talk about. Would you have gone through all this? Or the work that it takes to get all this kind of thing going, if it just changed one person?
If it changed one person, it's worth it.
100%.
If it changed one person, it's worth it because that's one person that's not going to be laid out in the hospital, and their families having to tell them bye, we love you, and you know what happens after that because there's people all the time. Heart disease
Mhm.
is a massive killer. Like I think it's like the number one thing like that takes people out every day is some form of heart disease, and that living this lifestyle is going to be so beneficial in preventing that for your life, regardless of what people try to say about red meat. We were designed to eat it.
Absolutely. That I'm glad you said that because that kind of reminded me of something that I wrote down that I wanted to bring up tonight. The National Health Service says that by 2023, 7 years from now, or excuse me, by 2030, 7 years from now, 50% of the UK citizens will be obese. That's half, obviously.
Wow.
And right now in America, more than 72% of the population is already considered obese. That's you know
Wow.
almost 50%. And obesity is credited with being the leading cause of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and most cancers. Now, I've got some friends who are battling cancer right now, and I've lost some loved ones due to cancer. And one thing that I've learned over the last year about cancer is that cancer feeds off of sugar. Certain types of cancer, not all cancer, obviously, but certain types of cancer feeds off of sugar. So one way that we can work on combating cancer is cutting out the sugars and the carbs that it feeds off of. Whenever they do a test on people for cancer and they use the dyes and stuff to be able to image it, they get the substance that they put inside of them. It contains a high amount of sugar because it's going to head right for the cancer cells, and that's how they
Mhm.
can image it, from my understanding.
Yeah, whenever they found out I had sarcoidosis for like 6 weeks, I went through different stuff and had to get testing, and they thought that I had cancer at first. They had us like freaking out thinking that I had lymphoma. And so I had to go through, like, I think it was PET scans, CT scans. I don't know what all the different scans were, but I had to go through the little machine back and forth and all this stuff and had this thing spinning around me. And they injected me with stuff, and I got to listen to Dr. Barry and them talk about it. And they really do. They inject sugar it's inside that stuff. And
Mm.
if you have cancer in your body, whenever they inject you, and see what's crazy is they make you fast the day before. I had to fast the day before,
Mhm.
and so I couldn't have no sugar. They said if I drank a little bit of water, it had to be a small amount. So what they was doing was they was making me limit my sugar completely, and then all of a sudden they pumped me with sugar. And when they did, if I had cancer, the sugar would go straight to where the cancer was and light up on the scan.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
So, let's see here. What was the other thing? Yeah, that's what I was going to bring that up too. BB Moose says, "My daughter has CHF. If I lose her, I will not survive. I did this for me, but also hoping that she would follow. And she is following me since May 1st. Dude, that's awesome. Like,
Dude, to do that, man, that's touching.
yeah, it is. It absolutely is. That you never know who's going to be affected by what you're doing, and you can't judge by what's going on right now what's going to happen, and you never know who's watching your life. You may have a family member. Like when I started this, I was basically trying to help myself, but over the course of time, I've seen my wife start eating this way. I've seen my daughter start trying to eat this way. My brother-in-law and my sister-in-law are eating this way. My mom is eating this way. My brother has been eating healthy. He's retired from the military, special forces. Like he's always been pretty healthy, but he eats like this. But it didn't start out that way. All those people in my family could take a look and see what had happened in my life, and they're willing to give it a try based on, hey, look what it's doing for him. Maybe I need some of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You never know who's watching your life, and you're giving them inspiration. So I want to congratulate you, Moose, on that, because that may be the one thing that might be what saves her life. It may
Yeah, because a
be.
lot of times it can starve cancer out when you take sugar and all that stuff out. Like
Hmm.
there's a lot of doctors that like, and it's not advertised really that they will even get people to do certain forms of keto and stuff to where they're cutting all that sugar out and stuff. And I'm kind of like, if y'all are doing that when they have cancer, why didn't y'all go ahead and recommend that stuff to people beforehand so that maybe they wouldn't have even got cancer?
Absolutely. I mean, you never know the difference you're going to make. But
Yep.
like as far as the CHF, congestive heart failure, whenever I first started, like I'm not going to attempt to do it like I did the other night. The other day when we were on a live, I like basically like raised my shirt up and was showing people my, I'm not going to do that again. I won't curse anybody like that. But if you could see my legs, I had weeping edema in my legs, which is one of the things that if you have congestive heart failure, that's an early sign of it. And I don't know that I wouldn't even go to the doctor hardly, but that weeping edema is not only gone, the inflammation and the congestion in my veins and vessels that were in my legs, but it reversed itself so quick. I've even got new skin. Like I could push on my legs, um, and it would just ooze before I started eating this way. And we're a little over a year past it now, and I've got fresh skin growing over my legs. They've healed. There's still some scarring there, but you never know. You never know how the body's going to respond and heal to this. When you give the body what it needs to function properly, the body is very, very designed and created very well to be able to combat the problems that we have.
Yeah, I like how Dr. Berry and them have said that like you don't see, or maybe it was Dr. Chafee in one of his videos recently that was talking about if you see a lot of animals in the wild, you don't see them struggling with all the diseases and stuff like we are. But if you notice, you start seeing like domesticated animals that people are feeding certain things and like our dogs and stuff like that are actually getting a lot of the same diseases that people are getting, and maybe it's
Mhm.
because the way we've been feeding them, whereas if they were still in the wild and they were chasing different animals and eating what they could to survive, a lot of times they wouldn't have all these crazy diseases that they're starting to get these days.
Oh yeah, I agree, 100%. Hey, Kathy says, "Oh, I had it up." Shawn, you're exactly right. I know my family's watching me. You never know who is. There's a lot of people. Even that's one thing that in the carnivore group that I found that I get encouragement and everything from is, certain people will come in every once in a while and they'll testify to, that person said something that just hit me at the right time that really helped me. So keep doing what you're doing. Thomas
Yeah.
says, did you ever have any one of your subscribers give up the carnivore diet because of medical reasons? Go ahead.
Did you ever have anyone from your subscribers give up the carnivore diet because of medical reason? Most of my subscribers that I know of haven't given up on the carnivore diet, if that's what you're saying. Most of them are excited about what's been happening. Now there's always going to be somebody that quits, but usually those people they maybe just stop showing up in the chats or they stop watching your videos and you may not know about it. I haven't seen many people to say that. Now I've seen a few people say, I'm not doing carnivore anymore and I've started doing keto. And hey, I respect that. Like, if that's what you want to do, if that's what works for you, I'm happy for it. I would much rather see you do keto than the standard American diet, or I'd rather see you do some form of keto than to do low calorie or something like that, or be vegan. So if that's what they choose to do, that's fine. But I haven't seen anybody say, hey, because of this or that health reason, I had to stop. I haven't seen it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen. I've been involved with the group longer than I've been involved with YouTube, and like I've got my subscriber count's going up so fast, and it's amazing. And we need to push it over the limit. Subscribe and share it with your friends. I'm trying to push
Oh
to that
yeah.
1,000 mark.
Oh, you're
Um,
gonna get there, buddy. Your channel's growing. You're gonna
dude,
get there.
and like I know me and you've had this discussion. I've discussed it with Larry as well. I've discussed it with one or two people. I hate even thinking about that because for me the goal is to get the message out. But that you do have those markers obviously that you got to hit. I haven't seen
That's just
the
gonna help you.
subscribers.
That's just gonna help you.
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't seen the subscribers drop off the carnivore diet as much. I have been involved with Carnivore Quest community as a moderator for about the last year, and I have seen people that even left the group and ended up coming back later on. So, and most of them will even testify, look, I went off plan, got carried away. One person described it like this: I fell off the wagon, dragged the wagon in the woods, and set the wagon on fire. That's how off the wagon I got. But they came
Yep.
back because they remembered what it was like to to feel that good, and they know that that's the change that needs to be made. So as far as
Absolutely.
health reasons, man, I've heard all kind of health reasons and all kinds of excuses and things from people um, that didn't or wouldn't stick to eating that way. But if you're suggesting like that like it caused somebody to fall off, no, absolutely not. It's the proper human diet. I haven't seen it called. My dad will not try this diet because he for the most part believes that protein, as he's been told by his doctor, I understand why. He's been told by his doctor that protein will hurt his kidneys, and he's in like got kidney failure. And the one thing that could be, and that's what, excuse my language, pisses me off about the doctors and health community telling people that the proper human diet that could heal their body is going to hurt them. It aggravates me because
Yeah.
I know that if he would get on this diet, it would probably help a lot of his issues. But
We're gonna see that change in our lifetime though, because people like us that's like making ourselves vulnerable because we're not professionals. We're just out here spreading what it's doing for us. And there's gonna be more people like us. And like I believe in our lifetime, there's going to be a major shift in what's told. And it's not going to be just because they want to tell it. It's going to be because all the different results, when they see us in 20 years, there's
Mhm.
going to be no denying it. There's going to be no denying the benefits that we've got because all of this stuff, we're documenting it. We're
Yeah.
documenting it right now, and people can say what they want to. We're going to be able to look back this and say, "Look what we done," and it's going to blow people's mind in our lifetime.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I feel like it's gonna be a big change.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
see here. Let's go right here. I was considering and praying about a gastric sleeve. I pray this will be the answer to my prayers. I have to get out of the pain, pinched nerve, and heel spur. I'll be honest with you. Before I came to carnivore last April, I started researching surgery, and I couldn't afford it. It just was there. It's not covered by. It wasn't covered by insurance. I didn't have any insurance. I didn't have a job. I looked into it, and 100% looking back on it, like I'm so glad that I didn't have that surgery because once I started researching it, it really made me nervous when it comes to having that because that changes you. It changes your body's absorption. The thing that you have to consider, and I'm not telling you one way or the other, that's a decision that only you can make. And as Kit was just alluding to a while ago, neither one of us are doctors. I was a
hmm
paramedic. I worked EMS for about 12 years, but we're not
hmm
doctors.
for
So
sure.
you have to make this decision with your doctor, however you feel comfortable making this decision. But I think it's something to consider that I've seen a lot of people who started out and had that surgery done, had the sleeves or the bypass or the resection done, and they didn't deal with the issues that was causing them to end up like that to begin with. And
Absolutely.
that's the pushing point. And I'm like I said, don't take me wrong. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I do want you to be aware that like if you don't deal with the addictions or the issues with the food and the way that you're eating and living right now, after the surgery is not going to change. You may lose
hmm
weight initially, but I've seen people get bigger than they were originally after having the surgery,
Yeah.
because they didn't deal with that problem. And if you deal with that problem, there's a real good chance that you may not even need the surgery. That being said, I research it, look it up, think about it, and get involved with the community, man. We love to support you and bring you along with us. I'm pulling for you.
What'd Kathy say? Pull
Oh,
up
where is it?
Kathy's if you see it.
Which one
It's
right
the
here?
it just came through.
Oh, let's
It
see.
may not be showing up on your end. It's the last comment on mine, or I can just read it if that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
it
read
easier.
it, man. I'm
She
searching. I'm
said,
sorry. For this part.
Kathy said, everyone needs to pull up the FDA food chart for 2023. It's proof that money drives information, not truth. They have Lucky Charms and Honey Nut Cheerios listed better for you than meat and eggs. It blows my mind that they still push that crap, that they say that stuff is better for you than like natural foods. Like, there's no way that Lucky Charms, which is some man-made carb, sugar, all that stuff, there's no way that that's better for you than a steak. I mean, come on, it's
Oh yeah,
crazy.
I agree. I mean, 100%. I get to reading the comments and I get sidetracked. My mom, my ADD is gonna push me around, I think. Let's see here. John says semi-retired Bob was an inspiration for me last year to start carnivore. Man, semi-retired Bob's a great guy. He's usually in here. There's no telling where he's at. Probably busy. Um, I'm getting ready to do some work with him pretty soon. So, and Kip, you just got done with doing some work with him. He had a great video, man.
Yeah, he's semi-retired Bossum or semi-retired Bob. He's an awesome guy. He was great to work with and very, very friendly. You can just tell when people are genuine, and he's a genuine guy.
He almost got us lost on that walk the other day in his video, though. I was kind of worried for him.
Oh
I think
yeah.
remember he said something about he was walking out by his house and he's like, I've never been down this road before. I was like, man, Bob, you gonna get us lost on the video, brother. I love
Yeah,
semi
he had to. He was
retired.
about. He said he was about to pull out his GPS and see where he was at.
Thank you, 22 Q Cat. Like, I appreciate that.
She's all.
I,
She is awesome too. She's been on with my channel since the start. So having her here, and you're gonna see stuff from her in your comments a lot.
I appreciate that so much. And I've said it before. I think I said it last time. I've said it in my first video. I believe that if people that have been blessed need to bless others, and people who
For
have been
sure.
helped need to help others. I feel like that's a responsibility, and that saying basically just stems from to who much is given, much is required. I feel like that, we've been blessed, and what kind of person would I be if I found that answer and I held it to myself and didn't
For
help those
sure.
people who are sitting at home on their couch or depressed and lonely tonight. 100%. That's not me. I can't do that. Um, Majestic Jim, my dad died today, brainwashed like your
Mm,
example was. I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, that's
mm.
horrible, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
That's tough.
that's rough.
I'll be praying that you will find peace, my friend.
Yep.
Oh,
BB Moose said that she has friends that gained all their weight back after gastric bypass. I've seen a lot of people. There are people that have success, but I've seen a lot of people that, you know, you know how it goes.
yeah. Lana brings up a good point. Doctors take no nutritional training in medical school, and yet they control people by telling them what to eat or not to eat. They just parrot what is in the books and journals. That's one of the big things I think about Dr. Berry that kind of stuck to me because, like I said, I spent 12 years in EMS. I've took anatomy and physiology. I'm not claiming to be the top guru whatsoever, but I mean, I've worked a long time in different facets of the medical community, and I knew absolutely hardly anything about nutrition. I knew how the body worked. So when I heard Dr. Berry discussing that and talking about it, it was like, hold up, time out. What? You mean to tell me that if I keep my insulin low and I don't feed it my body sugar, that it'll start converting over to burning fat for fuel? I've got plenty of that, you know? So once you really start studying putting the two together, the nutritional stuff with the anatomy and physiology, it makes so much sense. But you're absolutely right. I think that kind of goes back to the way that the scientific community, the health industry, and big food, they got it planned like that. Because why would they not train nutritionists to know how that side of it works with the body and affects the body? The whole purpose is
Mhm.
a nutritionist is to figure out what's healthy and how it works for your body. If they don't know how the body
Yeah.
works, how do they know what they're telling you is true or not?
Yeah, and a
Just a
lot of
question.
doctors, yeah, and a lot of doctors, they don't learn much at all about nutrition when they're in school anyway, and it's just, but and they normally just learn mostly about how to write prescriptions and how to do things that might help alleviate pain, but not necessarily anything about food. And it was one of the big doctors, I don't know, but they had said in their chat, like, why are you telling me about health because you're a doc, or why are you telling me about food because you're a doctor? You're not even or you're not even a dietitian. Yeah, even though dietitians get it wrong all the time, at least they went to school to learn something about diet. Where as a doctor, most of them, for the most part, they're not learning about that. They're learning about how to fix this body part, or how to do this certain thing, but they're not sitting there learning about what humans should be eating.
Yeah, you're right. Well, and two, like I said, I was grasping for straws. Dr. Berry, man, when he puts it out there, man, he really puts it out there. Like he can be making a lot more money as an ER doc, or you know, not just him. I mean, and I say that all the time. I try to be conscientious about that too. It's not just Dr. Berry. There's plenty of there's Dr. Chafee, there's Professor Bart K. There's a lot of people. There's Dr. Shawn Baker. There's Carnivore
Oh
Quest
yeah.
community. There's the carnivore trucker. There's a
Oh
lot of the
yes.
keto channel. I could sit here forever naming people who are trying to get this message out, who are explaining this stuff. We are definitely just two voices in the
Hmm.
in a crowd of great influencers who have a heart to see
Absolutely.
people change. Laura Spath, Kelly Hogan, there's
There's a
so many,
lot of
man.
people.
They're amazing, man, and it's definitely something that needs to be shared. Um, let's see here what we got. You see anything? Let's see that I finally made it to the comment that you were talking about like 10 minutes ago. I'm so far behind. Oh,
Yeah,
let's see.
doctor.
Carnivore trucker.
Somebody's. What do you say?
No, go ahead. I
No,
was
I
just giving
forgot what I was going to say. You can read that.
Gemini agreed. Fish
I.
is a great variety.
I.
Did you
Go
break
ahead.
up on me?
No, I'm
Maybe
there.
it's
I
my.
cut you off. You go ahead.
Oh no, I was just
I'm
saying.
still here.
Gemini agreed. Fish is a great variety flavor. I was just
Absolutely.
reading the
The
comment. Go
car.
ahead, brother.
Yeah. No, since you pulled him up, the carnivore trucker, he actually just made a logo for my channel today, and he's been working
Yeah.
on it for the past few weeks. Yeah, so shout out to him for making that logo for me. And he drew like a picture of me and my wife and my daughter and my smoker, and it's just cool that he done that, and he didn't have to do it, and I appreciate him.
Carnivore Quest. RJ Reynolds owns Nabisco. Imagine, yeah, if you start looking in and researching those things like that, you start looking at how many people from this board that owns this company sits on the advisory board for this other company, dude. It all starts running together. But eventually, people are going to wake up, or either they're just going to continue to be blind to it. We reach who we can reach. BB says Dr. Barry and his ninja sarcasm. I know it's so funny, especially whenever you don't see it coming. It's good stuff. Are you in his group, Kip?
No, everybody keeps telling me I need to join this. I've always been so cheap. Okay. I've always been so cheap that I'm like, I cannot spend $5 a month because I spend money on all kind of other stuff. But I think I'm gonna have to break down and join the group because too many people have been telling me that I need to.
Oh, I would definitely. I mean, not to plug Dr. Barry, whatever, but I will, man, because he's the first one I come across. Everybody who knows my story knows that the first person I come across was Dr. Barry, and then I made my way to Carnivore Quest community. And so Larry and Cassie and Dr. Barry will always have a place in my heart that I won't be able to explain because of where I came from. And along my journey, I love them. They're like family. And I've told all three of them that. And I do. And I'll
Mhm.
tell anybody that. But
Oh yeah, for sure.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, you can get some good knowledge in Dr. Barry's group, not just for you, but for anybody out there. I would definitely recommend if you have $5 a month, jump in Dr. Barry's group, because not just are you're gonna have a more, I don't want to say intimate relationship, but like you can get to know them better from being in the group. If there comes a lab question or a question that you need answered on a doctor level, you can message him and back and forth and be able to speak to him whenever he can get to it, because obviously he's busy, and you'll be able to talk with him. So for $5 a month, you're getting a deal on that. So I think it's worth it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sure it's definitely worth it. I need to check it out.
Oh yeah. Texas Donna, watch No Carb Life video on the influence of the 7 Day Adventist in the Kellogg Company and the decade-long government push towards plant-based. It's incredible. That's somebody else I didn't mention a while ago, that Dave from No Carb. He's such an amazing guy too. That
Oh
helped me
yeah.
a lot. But yeah, he's got some good stuff, man. He's very knowledgeable. We had a good time on our video. I actually invited him back, so hopefully in the next week or so you're gonna see some more work between me and him, if we can get it worked out.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff, man. Good
Yep.
stuff
He was
happening.
actually the first. He was actually the first person that reached out to me. So he'll always mean a lot to me because he reached out to me before anybody else would and was like, "Hey, I want to share your story with people. Would you mind doing an interview?" And I was like, "Man, I was scared to death." I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know how it's gonna go, but I just got on there and talked to him, and he's just a regular guy. He just cares about people taking control of their health and everything like he has his, and he made it just an enjoyable experience. He's a really good guy.
Oh yeah, they said you come a long way. I agree, and that's why I'm picking up me and jumping in with Kip, and we are considering making this a weekly thing. And now, obviously, there may be extenuating circumstances,
Yeah.
um, to to uh, he may have stuff to do or I may have stuff to do, but our plan is hopefully to make this where we can stream it on both channels, so you guys won't have to lug over to my channel and my guys won't have to lug over there, which a lot of them, however that works out, we're going to try to work it out where we can at least get together once a week maybe and do like a podcast stream for you guys. If As long as y'all show up, we're gonna show up too.
Yeah,
So
and bring your questions. Make sure you bring your questions.
and then say a prayer that we can keep up with them, because tonight it's on me and I'm not good at it.
Yeah, it
uh,
takes some work. People don't realize
yeah,
that.
yeah, you got Stella, the steak and butter gal. She's awesome too. There's a bunch of them, man. There's a bunch of them that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
And then, Kathy, thank you so much for reminding everybody, hit that like button, share it. The main thing I want to get across is sharing it with people, not just the people that you think would like it, but the people that might benefit and need it. Share it with them too. I'm trying to get to that 1,000 mark, and really, I'd love to get to 100,000. Because I
There
know that
you go. There you go.
every person that we reach and like and subscribes, I know that they're getting a better grasp on something that could potentially change their lives. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
Look, John, he said that'd be great if this was a weekly live. That's what we're planning on, my brother.
Yeah, we're
So
trying
we're
to
gonna
work
try to
that. We're trying to work that out right now.
absolutely. HWMO Liberty, do y'all drink coffee? I do drink coffee. Black, nothing in it. I used to say I like my coffee like I like my women, ground up and in the booth.
Here you
Yeah. No, but seriously,
go.
I love my coffee. I quit drinking it for the first 5 months when that I started carnivore, but for about the last 7 or 8 months, I have been drinking coffee. I
Mhm.
told Larry and Cassie in the live last night, and they were busy. I don't know if they saw it. I got a little spot not far from here. They have fresh coffee beans. It's the absolute best coffee I've ever ground up in my life. I'll next time I'm with them, I'm gonna have to bring them some of that fresh coffee. What about you, Kip? You still drink coffee, or did you drink coffee, or no?
Before now, when I first did keto, I used to like because keto, when you're in keto, a lot of people are just like heavy cream, heavy cream, heavy cream. So I started drinking coffee then to try to curb my appetite because I was having like half coffee and half heavy cream, which was just a ton of heavy cream. And then
Yeah,
eventually I had to stop doing that. But honestly, since before even but when I had got off keto before I started carnivore, I had kind of cut back on coffee and I probably only drank a cup of coffee or 2 cups a week, maybe 2 cups of coffee a week. But since I started carnivore, it's been pretty easy for me to stop. My guilty pleasure now, besides water, is drinking bubbly. And I know I shouldn't be drinking it because of the natural flavor. I know you've been getting on me about it, but and that's something that I've thought about. But for right now, I drink. Yeah, you like Topo Chico, but
you think that's
what is that?
Mineragua?
Mineral. I've never tried that. I've never tried
It's
that.
the Mineragua is like the runner up to Topo Chico for me. That's why I was telling
Gotcha.
around here it's hard to find that Topo Chico. So like the Mineragua is fizzy as the Topo Chico, but it's a little bit cheaper. And I went over to White Horse Road in Greenville, and they had these for like $1.30 or something like that. So I bought like every single one of them, like 25 of them.
Yeah, yeah. The only Topo Chico that I've tried is the one with lemon in it, or yeah, I think no, it might have been lime. Yeah, with lime, and I liked it, but I know it's probably not as good as to just drink the regular one with just carbonated water.
So Thomas, he's got another question. You want to read it?
Thomas does. A lot of people feel the credit crunch. Do you spend more money on your grocery bill being on carnivore? My for me, my grocery bill is kind of offset because I used to eat out more. So now I cook more meals at home. So I would say I probably spend a little bit more on groceries than before, not a lot, but I save more money than that by eating out less. So,
Mhm.
like at the end of the day, since I'm eating out less, I'm still spending less money than I would have before. And I mean, if I even if you let's say your grocery bill is $50 more a check or something like that, to me, in the grand scheme of things, if you can swing it, it's worth that for your health. And you can't like because you're that's what you're doing. You're investing in your health now so that later on you're not having all these crazy medical bills and all that stuff that and all the not to mention all the pains and the aches because you just kept eating the same old way that you were and worried about budgets. So it to me it's worth it to spend a few more dollars if you have to eat quality, and you can do it cheaper. You can just eat hamburger meat or you know just eat other cheaper cuts of meat. A lot of times I don't like in my videos I cook a lot of like ribeyes and stuff like that, but I also cook sirloins and I cook chuck roast which is a cheaper cut of beef, and I make cheap cuts of meat and you can make those taste good as well.
Oh, 100%. I was just scrolling through some of the other people that were responding back in the comments while you were talking about that, and they were basically saying the same thing you were. Life is simple with the grocery shopping. I'm spending the same or less because I'm not eating nearly as much. And that's a crucial point. Like I did a video talking about, what I eat in a day, and I'll buy. That's why I do it so simple because it's easy. I can prepare my food for 5 or 6 days in 2 hours or less. Obviously, let you in on a secret. My wife really does the eggs. She needs the credit for that, not me. But nevertheless, we can do that in about 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours on one day a week, and I'm set to eat all week. But it's just eggs, butter, and steak, and it's so simple. And as far as being cheap wise, I eat way less now. I was talking to my brother and sister-in-law about that as well earlier. They're saving all kinds of money eating just meat. Because of what Lena said there, not just you can eat higher quality meat for less because you're not eating as much, and you're saving money on healthcare because it's going to start fixing some of those problems. But you don't have to eat grass fed panda massage like Dr. Berry says, panda massage, A5 Wagyu. You can eat hot dog wieners and chili. I mean, it doesn't have to be whatever the best that somebody said meat that there is. It's
Yeah.
just got to be meat. If it had a mama, if it
Yeah.
came from an animal. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, and a lot of times, since I cook barbecue a lot, you'll notice that your bigger pieces of meat, like brisket and pork butt, sometimes is cheaper per pound, and that's because Americans are lazy, and then also a lot of Americans are busy, so they don't want to. Either they don't have time to wait and cook something like that, or they just they're too busy to. But you can buy those big pieces of meat like brisket or pork butts or things like that, and you can meal prep with it. So you get that brisket for $3-4 a pound, and it's awesome beef and it's got a lot of fat in it, and you can eat a ton of meals off of a brisket. If you was to smoke or even do it in your oven, that right there brisket will feed you a lot.
Mm-hmm. I'm just still scrolling through it. I mean, there's so many testimonies to people talking about saving money. Like you can literally, you can save a ton of money. I mean, by eating I think it's about 15 or $16 a day, maybe, for me to eat all day long, and I'm full. Like if I was hungry, I would eat more, but that's just one of the perks. Where you're going to spend your money at buying new clothes when you drop all the weight.
That's what I'm worried about now, man.
And
Yep.
I still got clothes sitting over there that my wife's like, "Will you please throw these clothes out? You wore these 6 sizes ago." I'm like, "They're still in this shirt. What am I going to do with it? I'm
Yeah.
still wearing it."
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Let's see. D says, "Do you think it's acceptable to just buy generic eggs?"
I would say I buy generic eggs personally. I mean, if you can afford pasture raised and you got that in your budget to get those kind of eggs, then I believe those were probably a little better. But if it's in your budget to just get regular eggs, I would get regular eggs because it's going to be a lot better for you than a lot of the other stuff that's out there.
Hmm. Yeah, I like it. I mean, I can tell a difference slightly, but as far as nutritional wise, there can't be that big of a difference. And I don't have a statistic right here in front of me to be able to quote it. But as far as like the statistic, the difference between it, I don't know that there's that much of a difference if the price value. I mean, if you got a friend that raises them, and you can get them from them, great. If you're going to have to pay a whole lot more for the difference, and I don't know that I would. I mean, there's no. I mean, it can't be that huge of a difference, right? I mean,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah.
What you see?
Somebody just said, "Oh, that was the carnivore trucker." Says, "Shoot, I just brought new shorts and I already need some." Yeah, I have been personally, because I worry about having to buy new clothes. Because when you're a bigger fella, I'll be honest, clothes are really expensive, especially my work clothes, like polos and dress clothes and stuff like that. Because I work in accounting, that stuff can get very expensive. Like some of the polos is like that. I mean, if I was a normal sized person, it'd be like $8, $10, $12 for the polo, but they're like, no, I want $60. I'm like, what?
Right.
And yeah, I'm like $60, but but I mean that's the thing that I worry about as I move down in size. So like my pants are getting really, really loose, and I just the other day I had to buy a smaller belt to keep my pants up, and
Dude.
because my belt I had went through all the loops, And so
Mhm.
right now I have these pants that are too big, and I've got my belt just squeezed in as tight as I can so that I can keep my britches on.
I bought one of those belts that has the loops. It's got the two belt loop, the two prong belts, and it goes all the way down. See it?
Oh yeah, yeah. See, mine don't
It's
go all the way down. That's
it's
what I need.
it's got that, but this belt started off 70 inches around. It was the biggest belt that you can find online like this. It's real leather, and it's the absolute. I could not find one any bigger. When I was at my biggest, the biggest that they make was like a 70-inch belt, and when I got this belt, it was too small, and I've had to trim it
Wow.
off and trim it off and trim it off. I've actually trimmed a lot of it off. But that's my suggestion. Get you one of the invest in one of those belts so you can just trim it off and keep going down with it, and you don't have to buy a new one.
Yeah. Well,
What
thankfully, I've been buying cheaper belts. So, like, my belts come from Walmart. So that new belt was like $10 or $12, which I don't mind paying that. So, and
right?
right now, I just kind of used it as a victory. I was like, hey, I had to buy a new belt because I lost weight. Because every other time I bought a belt is because I gained weight. So,
Yeah.
to me, it was exciting just to be able to be like, hey, I had to buy a smaller belt.
It's like a trophy, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think it's like a souvenir. I actually have the I had bought a brand new pair of khaki pants and a brand new T-shirt whenever I first started this. I went to my nephew's wedding, and I wore those pants one time before I started this diet. This way of eating. And I actually kept them, and I'm gonna have to post pictures of it because they were a size 60 or 70, either one, 60 or 70, and right now I'm in like a 30, 32, 34.
Yeah.
So
My all of mine wasn't in my waist. A lot of my weight was up here in my gut area and up here. I've
yeah.
noticed that I've lost some weight up through in my shoulders area up here, but
Oh yeah.
my waist was 52. So, which is still big. It shouldn't have never been anywhere near that big, but I've seen where some people's is a lot bigger in the waist. But I mean, I was almost 500 pounds with a 52 waist, which some of that comes from my height because I'm 6'4". If I would have been, like 5'10"
Five.
or something, I'm sure it would have been a lot. I wouldn't have weighed that much, but I know I still would have been heavy because I got a gut on me.
Well, I mean that's not me. I was 5'9" and close pushing 500 pounds. That's what I'm saying. I
Crazy.
was about 60. Yeah, I was as big. I was as big around as I was tall, no doubt. So I mean, it's a huge difference,
Crazy.
man. It's crazy, and it happened so quick. I don't know. It's just it's mind blowing to me. Gigi's family. I spend way less since I stopped baking and going out. 100%. You can save all kind of money. You just find what works for you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Oh, I could spend. You see anything? Let's see, $100 feeds me for a week. They still got the. You got anything you wanted to share before we jump on? I don't know how long we've been. I guess. Well, it's man, we're pushing on 2 hours. I guess we can
Yeah.
call it a night. Well, you got anything you want to share before we?
Yeah, we'll do it. Not just
I
keep
know
on,
there's a
just stick with it, y'all. Don't quit. Stick with it and don't quit.
one more thing before you go. You got anything
All right,
upcoming
come
that
on.
you want to share about your channel? I need to share with
Uh,
Carnivore Kipp barbecue and cast iron. If you're a follower of the intentional carnivore and you haven't checked him out, you need to get over there and check him out. Give him a like and a share. He's got stuff upcoming, and follow him on the journey. And what you got?
yep.
Anything
I
else you want
mean,
to share?
yeah, just I appreciate it if y'all come check me out. I do like my passion is barbecue, and on my channel, I want to show people that you can make great barbecue and without sugar because I come from the barbecue world and I've watched probably I don't even know how many hours of barbecue and I don't even know how much barbecue I've cooked over the years. It's been a ton literally tons of barbecue, and a lot of it was used with sugar and like brown sugar and different barbecue sauces and all that stuff. And I just want other people that are, in carnivore to know. And I don't have a problem with people that cook in their air fryers and stuff. There's because I have one. I don't have a problem with it. But if you ever want to step outside the box and learn something like that, come check out my channel, because I do a lot of cast iron cooking, and I do a lot of smoking meat, and I do a lot of grilling on my channel. So if you like that, come check it out, as well as documenting my weight loss journey, because I'm in the middle of it right now.
Absolutely. And I'm excited, man. I'm like you said at the beginning of the channel, I am super excited that we come across each other when we came across each other. And it's like, it was like divine intervention that led us together. And, you know, I feel like we've been paired together for a reason. And I'm looking forward to what the future holds for us. And I appreciate you. And I appreciate you teaming up with me and supporting me. And, you know, I see good things happening in the future for both of us, man. And I'm gonna celebrate this journey with you, my friend.
Absolutely.
Somebody said right there that hi, your live chat is running at the same time that Dr. Anthony Chafee's live premiere of his latest video, where he joins the chat right now. Maybe a different time next time. Yeah, I know. I actually was communicating with him, trying to get him to come on with us tonight. So, but he had other plans. So we're going to have to work it out at another time and make it happen.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I can keep going on forever because I love it, man. I do have some labs to share with everybody. I'm not going to do that tonight. I will share them with you guys upcoming. Be on the lookout for some new content. Like I said, I can't appreciate my man enough. We got some big stuff planned for you guys. If you haven't liked the video, like it, share it with your friends, share it with somebody who needs it. If you're not busy tomorrow, I got a video coming out with Professor Bart K. Check it out at 3:30. And until then, we'll see you next time. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Encourage you guys. Hit us up with a message if you want to contact us, and we'll see you next time. Keep pushing forward.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.